All right, we have made it to our fifth and final demo of today's demo day event with Strategy AI. Use generative AI to achieve your strategic goals. Today we have with us Andrew Leong-Fern. He's the founder and CEO of Strategy AI, and he is going to guide us through our last demo today. So without further ado, here is Andrew to take it away.
Great. Thanks, Alexandria. And hi, everybody. Welcome. I will go ahead and share my screen and we can kind of get into it. Okay, just to give you a little bit of context, I've been in the talent management space for about 20 years, and I've had a lot of opportunity to work with a lot of leading companies in driving change, in developing talent, and have seen this landscape change quite a bit over the last 20 years. And the creation of Strategy AI was a result of course, all of the learnings that we collected over the last 20 plus years, as well as the impact that AI has had. And also I've got two colleagues that'll be monitoring the chat, so feel free to ask questions. Both Ben White and Scott McMahon will be there to answer any questions you have. Today, basically what we're going to do is look at how you can kind of take your content and combine it with AI to increase a lot of the programs that you're running, increase the satisfaction, as well as trim a lot of time out of the development time it takes to engage employees. The second one here is then explore an example of how AI can transform your talent management efforts. This one is more of an advanced topic, and we're going to try to show you how things are made. It's going to look a little messy, but an important part that we see in AI is helping people understand what AI is doing step by step so that you can have confidence with the outcomes, so you can trust the outcomes. And then along the way, we're going to talk also about just why it's so important just to even just get started, give people some basic tools around AI, just so they can get their mind wrapped around what is AI and how does it work. The best way to do that is really just to kind of give them some hands-on tools to do that with. Okay, so what makes AI so valuable? Now, you've probably sat through a few other presentations, so maybe you have a sense of this, but for us, the explosion of awareness of AI was driven by ChatGPT, and I'm assuming that many of you have engaged with ChatGPT. And so you know that really what AI is able to do is it's able to access a vast amount of data and be able to respond to questions in a conversational manner. And that's what makes AI and the data that you have access to so approachable, is that it's conversationally driven. And so I'm going to take you now into an example using OSHA to basically walk you through how to create that better learning experience. Okay. So this is our platform. It's called strategy.ai. Right, what you're in right now is called Strategy Chat. In the workspace, I basically just uploaded two files. These are just OSHA files. It's basically just the content from OSHA. Because what I wanted to give you a flavor for is you can take any content that you have, existing content that you have, recordings, presentations, whatever it is that you have, and you can upload it to our platform. And it doesn't need to look pretty, it just needs to be text-based. So this is information about OSHA. So let's say, tell me 3 things about OSHA. So if you used ChatGPT before, this is not going to be new to you. But what is new is basically all of the content that's basically here is protected, it's private, it's secure. And when you take a look at the right-hand side, sorry, let me close this. When you take a look at the right-hand side, you basically will see where the contents of the answer comes from. So you'll see the sources listed here on the right-hand side. These are small excerpts of where it comes from. And if you want, you can click on this and it'll actually download the file. And then you can open the file. Because what we want to do is provide transparency in terms of, oh, it only provided one. I'm sorry. It must have been sitting here too long. Let me redo that. We want to provide transparency so you have confidence in the answers, right? So what this does is it gives you a priority of the contents that were used to generate these answers. Again, many times people have a question like, well, where does this answer come from? Can I trust it? Basically, these are the pieces of information that it comes from. Again, you can click this, it'll download it to your desktop. You can actually go to the actual source and read the source itself. We also have a mechanism for commenting on source. So one of the things we want to do is as people chat against your content, we want to provide them with a feedback mechanism. So if somebody has an opinion about what what is different, if there's a piece of old data, or if they have a differing opinion. They click on comment and source, it'll take them to another application. They'll type in, oh, we don't have time today to take you through it, but it'll basically give them an opportunity to provide you with feedback so that there's a feedback loop. So ultimately, what we hope to do is give you one source of truth, where when people, because with AI, people are asking a lot of questions, you want to be absolutely sure that the data that you're using to answer and respond with is correct. So that's the reason why we give you visibility into the source, and then we give a mechanism by which people can give feedback. I'll just introduce you to a few other things here in our interface. Right now, we're basically just chatting against your files only. Won't get into these other options because we won't have time. But there's also something called my point of view. So I can basically add my point of view. Let's say that I'm new to this company and to the manufacturing environment. And based on my point of view, AI will respond taking into account my point of view. So if you could say I'm in marketing, I'm in sales, I'm in whatever your context is, AI will calibrate its feedback based on what you've provided. So again, here I'm basically saying I'm new. What should I be aware of? It basically gives me things to be aware of. The other thing that we have over here on the left is also content expert POV, because many times within an organization, you might have questions. You might be, well, in this case, let's say that I want to hear, I'm working near something hot. So you're an expert in health and safety, specifically regarding fire hazards. So I'll take the same questions. And because I know that I'm going to be working somewhere where there's going to be fire or something hot, I'll ask the same question. But now what it's going to do is AI is going to take into account my perspective, but also the perspective of who I want to hear the answer from. So what this allows the learner to do is to customize the experience. If it was your content, you, for example, had new employee onboarding content, you could say, well, I work in sales, but I'm curious how manufacturing views the world. So you could sit there and say, oh, I want to hear an answer from the manufacturing team or supply chain. Or you could change your point of view. If I was a manager in finance, here's my view. So I'm more numbers oriented. So what will happen is AI will calibrate the experience based on what you're putting in my point of view, as well as the content expert POV. The content that's being used to generate this is being stored here in what we call a workspace. And you basically control all of the files that are here. So the way that you do that is you simply just click on an upload. You drag and drop a file. There are multiple file types. And we have a system called information-based access controls. This is the primary way that you will help manage and determine who has access to what information. You can certainly control it by who has access to the workspace, but you can also control it here. So let's say that I want to set this as IBAC 40, information intended for certain internal audiences. The lowest number is the broadest access. The higher number narrows up who can have access to it. So what we believe is that the people that are closest to the information, being the people that upload it, they're the ones that are best able to measure what is the access control level. So you basically just click that, it'll upload the file, and it'll assign an IBAC number to it, the number that you selected. Then when you switch over to your own personal profile, what you'll see is that when you add users to an account, you will assign them with an IBAC number as well. And what this does is it basically gates or determines permissioning in terms of who has access to what information. It's a combination of three things, really. I'll just kind of pull this chart up for you. Basically, there are workspaces that you're allowed to access. So you may or may not be members of one or more workspaces. You have your IBAC level set for your user. And so any file that's uploaded across the organization that's made available to everybody in the organization, your IBAC, your information-based access control, will still determine whether or not you should have access to it. And then your chat settings will also determine whether or not AI uses it to generate an answer. So many times, one of the biggest challenges that companies have right now as it relates to AI and chat is you can tap into all kinds of different sources of data, but you don't know if the data is up to date, if it's current, if it's relevant, if it's correct or not. So what we believe in is that the people who upload the data, you can either manually upload it or you can auto sync it. We have a functionality where you can sync it with a SharePoint site. But the people who are most intimate with the data are the ones that will determine the IBAC level, which ultimately determines sort of who has access to it. I'll just show you this overall chat page. This is what we call global strategy chat. So here I've basically just got 4 workspaces. So you can imagine that within your organization, you might have multiple workspaces. Finance team might have theirs, the customer service team, the product team, marketing, and so forth. And so this is just an example where each team has their own workspace. And global chat, what global chat does is, depending upon the security setting of each workspace, when you ask a simple question here in global chat, it will ask the question globally. And depending upon your IBAC setting, depending upon the workspace security setting, and then your chat settings, it will filter out all the files that you are not allowed to see, and AI will only generate answers using the files that you are allowed to see. So that's the primary reason why we do something like that. If I can just go back into chat then, one of the things that, if you're familiar with AI, is here, let me grab this question. If you prefer to communicate in Spanish, anytime, and I'm sure most of you folks have developed lots of different programs, lots of different onboarding programs, leadership development, other things. You've got audiences that you just don't have enough resources or time to develop corresponding language programs for. What you can do is just upload the content that you do have in English, provide them with strategy chat, and they'll be able to basically receive answers in their own language they prefer. So we support 30 plus languages, and you're able to generate the languages that you hope that they will see. Okay. The other thing that you can do is, many times organizations also don't necessarily want to have their employees learn a new interface or program. So we offer a couple different things. One is a chat bot. So for example, this is an e-commerce site. One of our customers basically has an e-commerce site where they sell fertilizers and other types of services and products. And our chat bot basically just sits here in the bottom right-hand side. And so that you can just ask a question, right, for the typos. But basically, again, AI will basically just interface with this. And you can imagine you can embed this chatbot in any application you currently use. So you can embed it in Workday, you can embed it in Salesforce, you can embed it in SharePoint. So I've got, for example, a SharePoint example I can share with you. Basically you would just embed this little widget. You can make it as tall or small as you want. If you've got, again, a SharePoint site, intranet pages, any other application that's HTML based, you're able to integrate this right in their flow of work. So as employees have questions, gone are the days where you sort of had to figure out what do people need to know, provide the training, wait 6 weeks before they come up with a question. Here, what you do is you basically accumulate the content, provide the interface where they currently work, and then as they come up with questions, they're able to find immediate answers. So we want to make sure that we provide the answers right in the way that they work. And one of the nice things is you're able to take a look at the data. So this data will tell you how many times each file was used to generate an answer. But more specifically, you're able to actually go into what we call questions and sentiment, and actually just scan the different kinds of questions that people are asking. What this does is it helps you identify what are the gaps. Do we have the right content that's addressing the questions that people are asking? And so you're able to view the information here. We've also got a download button that's coming that allow you to just download this into a spreadsheet, and then you can do some other types of analysis on it. So at a very high level, that's kind of how you, as a learning development specialist, a talent management specialist, if you've got content in a specific area, all you do need to do is create a new workspace, upload a file. The files will upload and then provide a link. You can either just provide them with this URL to people, or you can create an embedding where you put the chatbot or the widget into wherever they currently work. And all that data is going to come back again to the dashboard, so you'll be able to see the amount of activity that's happening based on the content you provide. The thing that I can't stress enough for most people, this is a starting point for you, meaning for companies that don't know how to start, what I would start with is a simple workspace and take content that you already want people to have. It could be your health benefits. It could be your product line. Any information that's currently already available to your customers, for example, information that you want your call center folks to have in terms of being able to respond to questions with. That's what you would use this for. So it's a very simple, straightforward way. If you're not sure what to do, I would basically just come to our website, strategy.ai, start a free trial, and just experiment. Just upload. It doesn't have to be necessarily company files, just experiment, upload files, and get comfortable with how our platform works and the quality of the answers, the functionality of being able to see things, and it'll go from there. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to kind of take you to a slightly more advanced topic. We have some what's called workflows and a product called Mentor. And I'm going to walk you through what we call a growth guide. And the design of this is specifically to demonstrate that AI, because it has the ability to access all kinds of different information and juggle it and keep track of it all, it can really create a customized experience for the talent you're trying to manage. So in this particular example, basically what I've done is I've uploaded, and this is all fictitious data. So I've uploaded competency model, I've uploaded 4 job descriptions, I've uploaded some simulated performance reviews. And what you're going to be able to do is, what AI is doing is prioritizing the competencies that are relevant to each role. So that's one of the challenging things that as a manager, if I'm managing a team of diverse people, what are the competencies based on the role that I need to focus on for each person? And that's hard for a manager to keep track of every day. What AI is able to do is it's able to do that instantaneously and serve it up to the manager. AI is also able to then use the most recent performance review and identify the competencies that need improvement. So I'm going to walk you through a demo of this. And then that information is provided to the manager. So our belief is there always should be a human in the loop. AI can be very powerful, but until you have 100% confidence in it, we want to make sure that there's a human in the loop so that you can actually take a look at what AI is generating. And as a manager, you want to be confident about what AI is suggesting to one of your team members to go work on. So with that, I'm going to switch over to something that we call, again, called Growth Guide. And what I'm going to show you are sort of it's not the actual end final interface, because I want you to be confident about what AI is doing and gain some understanding of how you can leverage AI in a very powerful way, but very simplistically. So what I'm going to do is I've built this workflow. I'm going to take you to simulate mode first, and then I'm going to show you kind of the way that this workflow works, and you'll see sort of the outputs, and then I'm going to take you back and show you the kind of the ugly sort of the details, but so that you can gain confidence. Okay, so this is step 1. Basically, hi, I'm here to help managers evaluate team members and identify opportunities for growth. I've only loaded 4 roles, so basically these are the 4. The one we'll focus on here is customer care associate. And based on the job description, what we've done is identified the competencies that should be prioritized. So for this person, that's the customer care associate, what we're doing is I've previously uploaded multiple competency model that has 11 components to it. And what we've done is we've taken the job description and we've asked AI to consider the job description of the customer care associate and the competency model and take its best guess in terms of prioritizing which ones do you think are most relevant. So what it's doing is it's basically telling you the competency, it's giving you a definition of the competency and the reason why it's prioritized it that way. So you can imagine that if you could do this for hundreds or thousands of employees, where you could actually help employees identify the competencies that will help them be successful. This would normally take a manager several minutes to do per employee if they ever get to it. Here, what you're able to do is get them kind of do some heavy lifting and get them 95% of the way there. What you'd want to do is kind of output this and then have the manager assess it. The next step then is based on we've then taken a look at the list of competencies, but then also we've taken a look at their last performance review. So we've uploaded performance review for all the different individuals. We've looked at the competency model. We've looked at the job description. And now we're saying, based on all those three things, what is it that you need to improve on? So in this particular example, for this customer care person, it was, execution and results driven. They need improvement. And here's the reason why. And so again, for each competency element, we basically, based on the performance review combined with the competency model, we assess how well they're doing. Are they doing well? Are they meeting expectations, or do they need improvement? So again, this is something that we would want to provide to the managers as a quick output. They would then calibrate this based on their more personalized knowledge for each employee that they manage. And then lastly, what we do here is we say, okay, let's sync in our LMS with the competency model, assign basically each module to one or more competencies. And based on that, and based on the person's performance review, we can actually demonstrate and show them, well, what should I work on? If I want to work on execution results driven, there's a course out here. I click on this link, it'll take me right into my LMS. It'll sign me up for the course. Whatever mechanism it is that you want, that's what these links will provide. So again, this can be done for every single employee, basically instantaneous. And the idea here is that at the end of the process, it's the manager that receives all of this information, and they're the ones that can calibrate the feedback that goes to the employee themselves. What I'm going to do is now kind of show you the more messy parts of this, because I want you to have confidence in how it's generated. So you're going to see the sort of, because this is the back end piece, it's not going to look pretty, but it'll give you some flavor. So again, I'll pick, well, I'll stick with customer care. Or what we do here is we basically compare the role, and there's a job class. For each job class, for example, if you're a frontline individual contributor, you have a certain set of competencies that are required. If you're a senior manager, you have a different set of competencies. So the role determines your grade level, and then your grade level determines which competency set you belong to. So this is AI basically just processing the next step. And again, what we've done here is we've said, okay, customer care associate, you've got a job grade level 2, appropriate levels contributor. And now what we've done is here are the competencies for that contributor level. Okay. So again, I'm kind of showing you the backside of it because I want you to have some confidence about what goes into making sort of those recommendations at the tail end. Okay. So now what we've done is we've actually now gotten the performance review of this employee. So we've basically anonymized it and then encrypted basically the employee ID. So you can't work backwards to identify the employee, but basically this is the most recent performance review for this employee. It's a customer care associate. That's the employee number. And then we took a look at the performance review, cross-referenced it as well against the job description. And basically this is what that performance review looks like. In the end, we asked AI to provide basically a competency rating for every element. I know it's kind of a lot of information, but the overall thing that I'm trying to convey is that once you've got all of your information, you've got your job descriptions, your competency model, your performance reviews, you've got your classes that are available in an LMS or in person or whatever. What you're able to do is combine them all, and AI can very quickly apply this logic to every employee in your organization and then provide that information, if you determine it, to the managers. And then the managers can then basically decide whether they want to share some or all of it with their employees. Okay, so again, this here is basically just showing what are the job descriptions for this particular one. It's really needed for the next step. Again, I apologize for showing you some of the the back end pieces, but it should give you some confidence about how it should work. Okay. So now what we've done here is based on the job description, the competencies are prioritized. So again, this is where earlier you saw this. Now this is where you sort of see it working. Basically, for this role and the competencies, we've basically asked AI to prioritize these based on the job description, the things that the person actually has to do. So as a new employee or somebody who's been in a company for a while, maybe somebody's never even given this information to you. Like they've given you the competency model, but what's most relevant to me? And that's what that step was designed to do. And this is basically just repeating it. That's basically just displaying the information to the end user. That's why that step was there. And so since we're getting near the end here, I'll just kind of stop here, but I'll give you this one last one here. Based on the job description, the position, the competencies are prioritized as follows. Again, we've taken the job description, we've taken the competency model, we're basically laying out what a person needs to focus on and the reasons why. And then the very next step is it basically links to the classes that you have available. So what I want to do here is just kind of show you the content that I've uploaded. I basically uploaded a competency model. It's very simple. I'm sure you all have probably a competency model. Job descriptions. Again, these are job descriptions we basically drafted or pulled off of LinkedIn and then anonymized. These are simulated performance reviews. So all you would need to do is, again, upload the performance reviews. We have a way to help you anonymize those things. There are other modules that I could show you that are more related to strategic priorities. So one of the next steps is, once you've got people thinking about what are the competencies that I have, we also feed in, I don't have it here, but we also feed in the individual's career aspirations and then the strategic priorities. So if you know as an employee where you want to, I'm a customer service level 2, I want to become a manager of marketing over here. What's my path to get there? The competency models should help me, but also the strategic priorities then help align my activities with that of what the company wants to achieve. And then this basically represents a single file that represents all the courses that are available in our LMS that are synced and aligned with our competency model. So literally if you've got many of these files already, in a day's worth of uploading, or if you want to just simply sync up a SharePoint site, you can actually generate everything that we've seen today for every employee overnight, and it'll basically be ready for the manager to deploy to their team members. So I will pause here and see what kind of questions we've got.
Well, Scott and Ben have been doing a great job answering questions in the chat. I'm trying to see if there's anything that we haven't addressed.
Okay. Also, if anybody would like to, we inside the chat, we've included a link if anybody wants to, at the end of this session, and we've got ATD's approval to go ahead and offer a continuation, a Zoom event. So inside the chat, if you'd like to follow up, if you've got specific questions, I can address any questions that you have if we run out of time here. So feel free to check out the chat. You'll see a link there. We'll do it. We'll start it right when this one ends. We'll go over to the other Zoom link and we'll pick up from there.
Thanks, Andrew. I don't see any new questions coming in for now.
Okay,
so I'll just pass it back over to you if you have a closing thought before I close us out for today.
The only closing thought that I have is it kind of gets to one of the talking points that I did want to hit, which is the most important thing about AI is not the technology, it's the change management piece. The tools that we've developed are primarily focused on helping people evolve and grow with AI. So we have things like AI tips and prompt education. We have e-learning. We have onboarding tools that are designed to get people engaged. But it's really in order to eventually your companies are going to have unique individual AI programs designed to achieve specific things. But for the bulk of employees, what they need to do is just get acquainted with AI. And so if I can encourage you to do anything, whether it's our platform or other platforms, it's really just give people access to AI so they can get their heads wrapped around how vastly different it is. For example, with the first example that I showed you with OSHA, you can create a learning and development program, new employer onboarding, safety, whatever program that you're being asked to create, you can do that in literally days. Before, we used to take weeks of content expert interviews, gathering the data, cleaning it, putting it in a nice presentation, and so forth. You do not need to do that. I can demonstrate it for you. If you've got your content, I can show you how to do it very quickly in less than a couple hours. And then you can create a mini prototype, provide the link to people, test it for yourself. But AI, until you engage with it and play with it, until you do that, you won't be able to see sort of how transformative it can be. You're sort of doubtful at first, and that's why I encourage you to just go ahead and start a free trial with ours or somebody else's platform just to get started, because the most important thing is really to get people playing with it and experimenting with it. So I thank you all for your time. Again, we'll be on the other Zoom link after this, and I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much, Andrew. And thank you to all of our sponsors again for today's Demo Day event. Thank you for joining us this afternoon to learn about all sorts of AI-powered solutions. You will receive an email with a link to the recording of the full Demo Day event, and you'll also get individual recording links for each of the separate demos. And I wanted to remind folks, if you're interested in future AI-related events, to check out ATD Intensive. That is a virtual program coming up next month focused on empowering L&D professionals to take the first step in leveraging AI in their work. So if you want to learn more about AI fundamentals, learning tools and applications, talk about ethical considerations, be experimenting alongside an L&D peer support group, and have some expert support, then join us August 15th, 22nd, 29th. You can learn more at atdintensive.td.org. Otherwise, thank you all so much. We appreciate your support. We hope to see you at future Demo Day events. Have a wonderful afternoon. Happy Monday. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.